G'day guys, Luke here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video guys, we're doing the Reptile update for May 2023. Before we get started guys, just want to thank you guys again for 1,000 subscribers. Feel free to leave any comments or questions down below, as I will be reading them out in a Q&A video. For the 1,000 subscriber special, I'm not too sure what I'll be doing yet, but we'll find out sooner or later. So for this month guys, we are starting in the lizard room. So we're starting on this rack system. So we've got a pair of 140 by 60 centimeter enclosures, about almost 5 foot by 2 feet enclosures. The down the bottom we've got a 4 foot enclosure by 2 foot by 2 foot, so 120 by 60. We're starting up here today with Dusty, who is my black-headed monitor. Guys, he's doing fabulous. I'll explain what happened to Rosie, because Rosie used to be in this enclosure when we get up to Rosie. But Dusty's enjoying the new cage. He's loving the high space he's got. He's loving the branches. And I'm seeing him out more and more often. So hopefully he will build up that confidence and we can start training him. At the moment, it's sort of that kind of trusting phase where, okay, he's not going to hurt me sort of thing. But anyway, his enclosure, guys. We've got the infrared heat projector and the LED light bar, UVB. So most of the enclosures in this room, guys, has this combination. There's a couple of enclosures that don't have it, which I'll tell you about when we get up to them. Got his backing, got his hammock, a couple of branches in here since he is an arboreal species. I do find him most of the time actually in between the light bar and the mesh of the enclosure, but that's fine. The light bars don't get that hot, so he must be enjoying the heat as well as the extreme height he's getting up here. We've got a nice big hide in there. We've got his we've got a crocodile skull in there just to add kind of decoration purposes. We've got his food bowl where I chuck superworms in there so they don't burrow into the sand. Got his water bowl, and like I mentioned, the substrate is sand for him. But he's an absolutely stunning black-headed monitor, or Varanus tristis, tristis I think it is, or Varanus tristis. That's the scientific name for them. Starting to get back on the scientific names. Below him, we've got this beautiful girl. So this is Zacho. Zacho here is my female eastern water dragon. She's doing well, starting to go through a shed cycle. So basically her head and half her body has that beautiful green colour. But her tail and the other side there is still that brown colour. Hopefully she sheds all that off, because it'd be interesting to see it'd be cool to see her completely green. But saying that, I don't care what she looks like, she's still my beautiful girl. And she's a funny girl. She's turned 10 recently, so she's getting there with age. So in her enclosure, guys, we've got the heat and UV combo. We've got the backing hammock as well. A couple of branches that she will use, but she's often on the ground. Got a water bowl in the back corner there, fake plant. A couple of rocks there as well to help get in and get out of the water bowl. Her diva's on, because she is such a diva. Food bowl. And a couple of bits of wood in there and a hide, I think I mentioned. So that is Zacho. Down below her, we've got my pair of shinglebacks. So this is Monty and Anastasia. So Monty is this handsome fellow here on top of the hide. Ever since we actually introduced Anastasia to Monty, he has become a different lizard. Before, he'd be more shy. He didn't really like to be touched at all or handled. And most of the times, he would pee and poo on me, which is what kind of shinglebacks do to you. But now, he's kind of more opened up, only because this beautiful girl is in his cage. So he's in the stage of kind of having breakfast and then falling back asleep in it. She's doing well, guys. She's been honestly amazing to watch how she's transforming my boy. She's a very, approachable shingleback. She will come towards you. Yeah, she doesn't mind the back scratching and the little head scratching as well. Handling wise, we're still not working out. She also pees on me, but she's getting nice and thick on the tail there. When I first got her, she was a bit skinnier, but yeah, she's amazing shingleback. And these two, pretty much almost every single night, curl up together and sleep together, which I find very, very cute. The enclosure, guys, same UV and heat combo. They've got the backing, water bowl, substrates the same as Zacho's, 2 hides, which they both end up sharing the bigger one. I do add a second one in there, but they don't use it very often. And the food bowl and water bowl. But yeah, there are my 2 shinglebacks. From one Central Australian animal to the next, we've got Crystal. Now, she's in this back corner here, so I'll just get on top of a rock. Hello, naughty girl. How do you do? There she is. So Crystal here is my female pygmy or black soil bearded dragon. She's not too bad. Last week or so she's been kind of curling up in the back corners. Probably think about brumating. We are coming pretty close to winter. So yes, that. So she's been fine. Nothing really changed in her life. So her enclosure is a 90 centimetre by 45 by 45. So 3 foot by 1.5 by 1.5 foot. Still the heat and UV combo. Backing, couple ornaments in here for to sit on. No fake plants, as they have a habit of eating fake plants, bearded dragons, I've heard. Water bowl, food bowl, sands and substrate. I find sand's probably the best substrate, as long as it's very fine grain of sand. And it's white. I do find the red sand is dyed or rubs off into the animal. But yeah, so very fine. So pretty much sandstone is the best one to use. But yeah, that's Missy. We go down here. We get to charcoal in a moment, but we go with Valentino and Chewbacca. So pretty much these are 30 by 30 by 20s. So they house two yearling children pythons and a spiny tailed gecko. So this is Valentino's enclosure. Chewbacca is pretty much the same but mirrored. So they both share a heat pad. They've got 2 hides, water bowl, a couple of sticks in there that they're kind of broken up. Substrate, and they all share just a normal LED light, voice crack, as a lighting purposes. There's Valentino. He was the firstborn, so being my first ever clutch of snakes, we had to keep in. And then next door to him, we got his sibling. Obviously, too young to know the genders of these snakes, but I might do a video on that soon. I think in here is Chewbacca. There he is. So the reason why we also kept Chewbacca is because he's got very interesting markings, and I couldn't choose between the two, so I kept them both. I have to be careful as today is feeding day for my snakes, so I do not want to get bitten. So Chewbacca, same pretty much enclosure. In here we've got Sui, who is my Sensima. No, she's not out and about, but we'll get back to her in a moment. But in her enclosure is a 50 centimetre, so just shy of 2 foot by 30 by 30, so about a foot high and a foot deep. We've got about 3 inches of sand that needs to be changed out. I keep forgetting to do hers. We've got a hide here that she can go into. Got a bit of bark in it, also hollowed out that she can hide in. Water bowl, fake plant. She's got another hide here, so she's got 3 hides in here to choose from. Water dish, backing, and on this side of the enclosure she's got a heat pad. And above her we've got Charcoal, who I'll also get out in a moment. He's my southern, I think they call him, southern spiny tail gecko. He's doing awesome, guys. He just shed his skin recently, so he's looking stunning. So in his enclosure we've got sands and substrate heat pad in the back right corner. Hard to see because of the glare. We've got a backing, couple of branches in there from the climb up on. He's got a cave, a water bowl, fake plant, and like I mentioned, they all share a 1 metre LED light cord as display purposes. But I'll open up these 2 enclosures and have a look at the 2 hiding animals. But there she is. She's got some awesome colours, Sui. So she's got that gold and purple colour, I find. And she's quite a chunky Sensima. She likes to eat a lot of food. But yeah, we'll leave her be. Then we'll get Charcoal out. So there's Charcoal. He's the gecko I mentioned earlier. He changes his colours, so sometimes he got to this dark colour. This is how he got his name, Charcoal. But sometimes he got to a very light grey. But today he's probably not too happy, or he's very cold, so he's going to that darker colour. But saying that, he's still a beautiful little gecko. Handling wise, he's getting much better as well. Heading over to the other side of the room. So this is pretty much my skink rack, I like to call it, or my skink wall, where it houses 4 of my blue tongues and 1 of my pink tongue skinks. Well, my only pink tongue skink, I should say. So we'll start with him. So in this 1 metre by 50 by 50 centimetre enclosure, so just over 3 foot but shy of 2 foot, houses Pedro, my male pink tongue skink. He's gone brumating for the winter. He doesn't do a whole much these days. Just sleeps in this hide and does nothing. In the warmer months, I do hear him climbing on his backing like at night time, which keeps me up. So anyway, In his enclosure, we've got the coconut fibre. He's got his water bowl, food bowl, a couple of branches in here to climb up on, a backing that he will use in that cave. Well, that's a cave incorporated to a hide, so he's got 3 hides to choose from. Got 2 fake plants, also 3 bundles of fake plants in here. Over that back corner there, we've got a heat pad underneath there. And for lighting, it's just a normal light strip just to display the enclosure. Otherwise, most of the time, this enclosure is left in complete darkness, as that's what Pedro likes. Above him, we've got Bo. So Bo is 1 of 4 blue tongues in the family. So 1 of 3 Easterns we've got. So with Bo, Bluey and Billy, their enclosure is 120 centimetres by 45 by 45. So 4 foot by 18 inches, I think it is. Well, let's say 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet. In each of their enclosures, we've got the LED light bars. We've got a cave room, a rock, a brick in there just to help get on top of the hide. I'll be changing that to ramps soon, like lighter ramps instead of the heavy rocks. With their backings, substrate, food bowl and water bowl. Bo, he's doing excellent. Yeah. It's funny that in the warmer months, you've never seen this blue tongue. But when it comes to winter, he's always out and about. So I think he just prefers winter over summer. But yeah, he's a cool little blue tongue. You don't see really much of him. He's also, with Blue and Bo, their heat element is the infrared, while Billy, who we see in a moment, has a heat pad instead, as that's something she's used to. Across the way from Bo, we've got his brother Bluey. About 4 or 5 years ago, these two were housed together until one day they both decided to fight each other, so I had to separate them. And I'll be honest, ever since then, they've both been happier. Obviously, Bo, he's more secluded. Bluey, he's the more confident and outgoing brother. He's also very food motivated, so each time, I don't know, my ruler I'll pick up or something I'll pick up along the shelf, he sees that and he goes, oh, food, he'd be kind of banging his nose against the glass. But he's a good boy. His enclosure, pretty much identical to his brother, so not going to repeat that. Below them, we've got Billy. Now, before we get to young Billy here, just a quick pan of the enclosure. So food bowl and water bowl over there. Hide. She's getting a bigger hide soon, only because she's gotten big. Hey Billy, so here she is. She's a thick blue tongue, so she definitely needs a bigger house to be honest, or a bigger hide I should say, which I'll be getting onto hopefully today. Are you okay, Billy? Billy can sometimes be a very confident blue tongue, but other times she can be easily scared. So today must be one of those days for her. Then up here in this 90 by 30 tall by 45 deep, so 3 foot by 1.5 foot by 1 foot enclosure, we've got Blaine, who is my lowland blotched blue tongue. So her setup, guys, we've got the heat and UV combo, 2 hides, as she's a very secluded, very shy blue tongue. Got a food bowl and water bowl, substrate, rocks, brick backing, a couple of hides like I mentioned. Here she is. Sorry, Blaney. So there she is. So she's quite different from your Eastern blue tongues as well as your blotched blue tongues where people go nuts for them. I actually don't mind the look of a lowland blotched blue tongue, but saying that, I do love Blaine and I love all animals, so she's something different as well. But that's it for the lizard room, I should say. Let's pop over to the snake room, goanna room, and see how everyone else is doing. Into the snake room, so a fair bit in here has changed from last month. Probably get to that later on. Just got to be careful when I open these cages. I do not want to get bitten. As I mentioned earlier, today's feeding day. So up here first, we've got a pair of 90 by 60 by 60 enclosures, so 3x2s. That has 2 blonde spotted pythons in 1 cage, which is this one here. This here is Super Saiyan Graham, my 2 oldest snakes / reptiles in the family. Approaching 13 years or 14 years at the end of the year. So the darker one there is Superstar, and the lighter one, well, down there is Graham, who we can't see her beautiful face. Graham, I do think she's gone off food for the year, but you never know with her, she can change her mind sometimes. Superstar will continue to eat like normal. She's a beast, but she's still a beautiful girl. So in the enclosure, guys, we've got the heating, that's a normal light strip, so light bulb in there to display the enclosure, a backing, a branch, 3 hides that it can choose from, but they like to both cuddle together. Got a water well, substrate, fake plant, couple of pieces of wooden rocks in there, just to help with shedding skin. Usually these two girls are quite good, even on feeding day, so I'm not too worried of getting bitten. Next to them is my only pair of Chelsea pythons I will be breeding this year. More on that in a moment. So in this hide here, we've got Azula. She's the stunning girl. Hey Azula. And then in the cave next to her, we've got Emma, who is her boyfriend. Now I'm not lifting that hide up because he is thinking food, the little bugger. So in the enclosure, guys, we've got 3 hides yet again. Where Emma is, there's a hip hat underneath his his hide. And then we've got 2 cooler hides for him to hide in. Got a normal light bulb up there as well for display purposes. Backing, a couple branches, a fake plant. They've got their substrate, a couple rocks to help shed their skin. And a nice decent water bowl for them to get a drink, or if they need to, a bit of a soak. Down below them two, we've got a pair of 180cm by 60 by 60cm enclosures. So 6 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. So in this enclosure here, we've got Chappie and Orchid. So Orchid is currently out and about. She's seeking food, so I'm not sticking my hand on that side of the enclosure. But she's doing fine, bouncing back brilliantly after the clutch of eggs she laid. And Chappie over here, I'll be honest, I have to keep an eye on him. Ever since we put him in this enclosure, he hasn't really been the same animal. He's gotten sick. It hasn't quite bounced back as much as I hoped. So he's in the shed at the moment, so I don't want to disturb him too much. But yeah, he's certainly an animal to keep an eye on. If things do go downhill, I will put these guys in a smaller enclosure, and I'll put a lizard or something in this big cage. So, something to think about. Anyway, so the enclosure, guys, got a backing, so with 3 shelving so they can sit up high. Water bowl, 2 big hides that they will sleep in sometimes. Substrate, which I need to do out. So most of the enclosures got fresh substrate, but this room I just didn't quite get around to before this video. A couple of fake plants, got the heat element, as well as a normal light strip in there just to display the enclosure. Down below them, we've got my 2 diamond pythons. Now, I'm not sticking my hand in there. These 2 are brutal. Love them to pieces, but when it comes to feeding day, they are quite brutal. So this lighter one here is Aurelia, so meaning yellow in Rome. And then you got Atrum, who is black in Rome. So Atrum there is going to shed, but by the looks of it, he might be eager for food as well. Both are beautiful, can't wait for them to get nice and big. I'm hoping they are a pair, but you never know. But saying that though, I will take 2 females, 2 males, a male and female. I'll take anything with these guys. They're such beautiful snakes, and they're just funny to work with sometimes. The enclosure, guys, we've got 3 hides. So there's 2 on this side, and then a nice big one down that end, which I don't ever use. Got a big water bowl, substrate, couple of rocks, backing. Dom pythons do require UVB, so I've got 2 LED light bars in here for UVB for them. But yeah, they're doing well. Heat projector there and a backing as well, which sets off this enclosure brilliantly. So I'm quite pleased how that looks. Now, speaking of big enclosures, we'll do these lot over here next. So, same dimensions, but just a couple of different animals, that's all. So this bottom one here, we've got Ray, who is my Rosenberg Warner. For a while, I thought Ray was a boy. Sorry, a girl, sorry. And it turns out he may be a boy. However, saying that though, I don't care what gender Ray is. He's a cool lizard. Not fully grown. He might get about another 30 centimeters bigger, but he's still getting used to being touched and patted. But we're working on it, aren't we, Ray? And no biting. Ray did bite me, on the foot the other week. So I didn't really appreciate that, Ray. Little mongrel. So in Ray's enclosure, got the LED light bars in here too, along with the heat projector, the backing, couple of fake plants, 2 hides, one of them doesn't use, a couple of branches in here for him to climb up on, but he usually just jumps straight up onto the backing, A couple of rocks, and he's got a water bowl just sitting there too. Close this up before Ray gets any ideas of biting my feet again. So I might have to start wearing socks or shoes around you, matey. Hey, you little demon. Above Ray, we've got Chris, who is my black-headed python, who we'll get to in a moment. His enclosure, I've got a normal light bar in there, just for display purposes. Water bowl, 2 massive highs, as Chrissy is a massive snake. He's pushing 2.3 meters, almost 7.5 feet. You guys, heat projected there, fake plant, substrate, and a branch in there that he will climb up on, funny enough. Let's see. Hey Chris. Here you go, mate. You want food later on? For feeding day, you're quite calm. What's going on with you, hey? But he's a beautiful snake. He's very mellowed. However, when he knows there's food in the area, whew, he becomes a real handful real quick. Now to the changes. So up here last month we had Aaron and Caesar in a 90 centimetre enclosure. That's long gone. Well, that's gone now. They've been separated, and Molly used to be in a similar size enclosure, but she's been downsized more than that in a moment. In this 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot enclosure, so 120 by 60s, is Rosie, my ridge-tail monitor, who I'm guessing is still asleep. And I thought I was bad. This guy's worse than me. Let's get him out. Morning, Rosie. Want to come out? Go that way. Go and heat up. You're a little pocket rocket, aren't you? So you just saw a glimpse of Rosie. He's only a yearling, but he will get much bigger. You can, mate. I know I startled you. So he's not happy that I woke him up, but let's be honest, who he is when you were sleeping nice and peacefully, then yeah. Anyway, Rosie's doing just fine, smashing food. I'll close this up before Rosie thinks of escaping, and I'd rather not have that happening because all my animals are dear to me. Don't you bloody lock. There we go. Sorry guys. So in his enclosure, we've got the LED UVB with the heat projector. A few, heaps of branches in there for him to climb up on, as he intends to do that. So, 3 hides to choose from. As you saw in this hide here, the sand in there is wet down, so it keeps humidity well and helps him shed, which, credit, someone did mention that, and yeah, they're alright. But saying that, Rosie's doing just fine. So sand's the substrate, a couple of fake plants in here, just add a bit of greenery, and a nice big water dish, which somehow he keeps clean, being a monitor lizard. But yeah, that's Rosie. Next door to them, we've got Molly, who is my female jungle carp python. And the reason why she was downsized is for 2 reasons. A, to accommodate Rosie in this room, and B, every winter that we've had with her, she got sick, and yeah, so I thought we put her in a smaller cage that's easier to heat up, so that way she can stay healthy. So her enclosure, guys, is a 2 foot by 1.5 foot by 1.5 foot, so 60 by 45 by 45. She didn't do a whole much in her own enclosure, so she doesn't really need that big enclosure. So she's got a hide, substrate, water bowl, a couple of fake plants in there as well, a couple of rocks in there too, fake vines just to make it more jungly for her, and a log she can perch on. She's got a heat element up there, and she shares a 5 meter light strip with these 4 enclosures here. So these 2 on the top here are 70 centimeters by 50 by 50. So over 2 foot, but just under 2 foot as well. Below them, we've got a pair of 60 by 45 by 45, so 2 foot by 1.5 foot in dimension. Then this bottom cage down here is a 4 footer by 2 foot by 2 foot, so 120 centimeters by 60 by 60. We'll go up here first to this enclosure here. Is Diablo? No, must be his hide. So in this enclosure here, we've got Diablo, who is my brown tree snake. He's doing awesome, smashing food, being a lovable character that he is, if the camera can focus. He's getting quite long, so we're giving him the nickname the Brown Noodle. By saying that, I love this snake so much. For a brown tree snake, or I think you guys have in America call them cat eye snakes. He's very mellow, he's super chill, and honestly, for a while I was assist feeding him, but now he's eating on his own, so he must be really enjoying this cage here and feeling like he's out in the wild. Speaking of his enclosure, we've got his backing that has a cave in there, which he loves. A couple of branches in there for him to climb up on, as they are an arboreal species. Substrate, water bowl, a couple of caves in there for him hiding on the floor, and a fake plant. And he shares a heap pad with his neighbour Snickers. So Snickers here is one of 3 female children pythons we've got. So her, Azula, and Aaron, who we'll get to in a moment. She's doing well, loving this cage. So similar in style. So we've got a backing, a couple of sticks in there for her to climb up on, 2 caves, a couple of fake plants, water bowl, and a substrate. And like I mentioned, she will share a heap pad with Diablo. Down below there, we've got Caesar, who is my male blind spotted python. Now, I separated he and Aaron just mainly because, why not? Technically, he's a spotted python and she's a children python, and I'm not a big fan of hybrids as well. I kind of overdid the baby children's this year, so I thought one pair is enough, and it's well quite hard to get eating. Where's his noggin? I saw it a little earlier. This is actually the first time he's in this hide. You gonna say hi, buddy? So it looks like he doesn't want to stick his head out, but that's okay. So he's got his log that he's sitting at the moment. He's got 2 more logs down the bottom of the enclosure. So one in the back corner and one here. Obviously the glare is horrible. I do apologise. There we go. Couple of branches. He shares a backing with his ex-girlfriend, I would say. We've got his substrate, water bowl, and in the back left hand corner we've got his heat pack. Close that back up. And next door to him we've got Aaron, aka Mrs. KP. A couple of nights ago she got out. How she got out was actually she pushed the lid off this enclosure and got out. Luckily I found her reasonably quickly. And I've taped the living daylights of this top so she can't push out. And hopefully she doesn't escape again, because she got out of this cage as well with the same method. So, Aaron. Before we show her, substrate, 2 hides, couple branches in here for her to climb up on, water bowl, a rock, fake plant, backing, and underneath this hide we'll have a heat pad to keep her warm. Here she is. So the idea now is probably every year I will rotate the girls with Emma. So this year will be Azula. Then following year could be Snickers, Jesus. And the year after that will be Aaron. Then we'll be back to Azula, Snickers, Aaron. Gives the girls a couple of years to build up body condition. That way they can lay a good clutch of eggs, but as well not being too deflated. Down below them, and this is the final animal of the reptile room, we've got Charles, who is my albino Darwin carpet python. He's doing funny, I will say. So 1 month he will eat, one feed he will eat, next feed he will skip. A couple of days after said feeding day, he shed his skin. So at this rate, he's currently shedding once a month and eating once a month, but that's fine. I might just start feeding him once a month regardless, because he's not a really big eater. But yeah, we still love him. But in his enclosure, guys, he's sitting on a couple of branches. We've got his hammock. Just a normal white light strip up here. We've got his heat helmet, Jesus. Hammock, 2 hides, a couple of rocks and a fake plant in there. Might add more fake plants in here for him, just to make it more greener. And a nice decent sized water bowl. But yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in another video.